Welcome everyone. It's great to be here with you today. Thank you again for taking time to join us on this Saturday. My name is Brian Ensign and I'm a fishery biologist with the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission, and I currently work out of our Fisheries Management Area 2 office located in Tionesta. The title of my talk is Esocid Fisheries, and if you're not familiar with the term Esocid, we'll basically be talking about those species to include muskies, pikes, and pickerels. A brief overview of our Esocid species, both historically as well as specific to Pennsylvania. The earliest known record was 62 million years ago. That was first documented in Alberta, Canada. Within this group, it contains the largest species, that being the Muskellunge, pictured here on the right. We have 6 species in PA. 5 of those are native. 1 of them is introduced. And of these 6, 4 support a recreational fishery. So when we look at the Esocid family, there's some general characteristics and features that are common among all the species in this group. First, they're a top apex predator. What do I mean by that? They're at the very top of the food chain. There's not too many things that are going to eat a 50-inch muskie. Second, the way the shape of their bodies are, they're elongated and compressed. They're different looking than, say, a bass or a panfish, where they're more uniform. Third, if you look at the head region, you'll notice that on the very front, what we call the snout, has a duck-like or flat appearance, and then they also have these large canine teeth as seen in the picture down below here. They're also known as an ambush feeder, and what they do is, you can see this is a muskie here in the top photo. He's in camouflage and vegetation, and when he sees, and they lie motionless, and then basically how they hunt is when a species that they want to attack comes by them, they lunge out to grab that species. And when they are in this feeding pattern, what they're trying to do is they're trying this S pattern, they're trying to attack the midsection of that fish. So then they can get that turned around so they can swallow it head first. So when we look at the distribution of muskellunge, specifically the purebred, their native range is St. Lawrence River, Great Lakes, and the Mississippi drainage. In Pennsylvania, they're primarily native to the Ohio River basin. And thus all other populations outside of this drainage have been introduced and have been stocked by our agency to maintain fishing opportunities. The state record is from Conneaut Lake at 54 pounds, 3 ounces. Nationally, we rank 4th as far as our state record, and the world record is 67 pounds from Wisconsin. All of our muskie populations are maintained primarily through stocking, although we do have some natural reproduction, albeit limited. Tiger muskie is a cross between a northern pike and a purebred muskie. They are non-native and introduced in the United States as well as Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania doesn't keep records for hybrids, but what we can provide is, by our biologists, the largest fish they've sampled was a 32.5 pounder. When you compare this to the world record is 51 pounds out of Michigan. These populations are maintained exclusively by our stocking efforts. When we look at the distribution of northern pike and chain pickerel, specifically northern pike, they have a similar native range similar to muskies, in that they are native to the Great Lakes, the Mississippi River basins. In PA, they're native to the Ohio River drainage, and all populations outside of this Ohio River drainage have been introduced to maintain fishing opportunities. The state record is 35 pounds, and that was from Allegheny Reservoir. Nationally, again, we rank about 4th compared to the other state records. The world record is 54 pounds from Germany. These populations are sustained by natural reproduction, except for a few waters we do stock in 2 lakes in Snyder County. Regarding chain pickerel, they're native to the Mississippi River basin, the Gulf Slope, and the Atlantic Slope. In PA, they're native to the Susquehanna and Delaware drainages. We do have some introduced populations by stocking in the Ohio River and the Erie drainages. The state record is from Long Pond, 8 pounds, 15 ounces in Wayne County. Nationally, again, we're around 4th as far as our state record, and the world record was 9 pounds out of Georgia. These populations are primarily sustained by natural reproduction. And finally, the distribution of our grass and redfin pickerel. These are the 2 smallest Esocid species that we have in Pennsylvania. Specifically for the grass pickerel, its native range is the Mississippi Valley and the Great Lakes drainages. In Pennsylvania, it's native to the Ohio and the Lake Erie drainages. Regarding the redfin pickerel, it's confined to the Atlantic Slope drainages, and in Pennsylvania, it's native to the Delaware drainage. No official records are kept for our state fish for these 2 species, but the world record grass pickerel was a 1 pounder captured in Indiana, and the redfin just over 2 pounds in New York. These populations are sustained by natural reproduction. As I mentioned before, they're the two smallest of the species. They don't get very big, and thus there really isn't much of a sport fishery amongst our anglers for them. So looking at the biology of our muskies and pikes, specifically Muskellunge, they spawn in April-May. Females are typically larger than the males and then become sexually mature around 3 to 4 years of age. Also in our muskies, if you look at the chart to the right, you'll see three common pattern variations. You have a clear phase where they're very faint markings on them, a spotted, and a barred phase, similar to our tiger muskie. For tiger muskie, they're a hybrid cross between a northern pike and a muskie. As mentioned before, offspring is sterile. They also contain this hybrid vigor where they take on some of the characteristics of their parents, so they can grow faster than a muskie and get larger than a northern pike. They also, because they have northern pike lineage in them, they're more aggressive in behavior and are more apt to strike than, say, a traditional purebred muskie. Northern pike spawn in April and March and April, and can live up to about 24 years of age as far as their life history. Some other differences in between these fish include the pore counts on them compared to a northern pike, and as well as the cheek patterns, whether they're fully scaled or just half scaled. And finally, the biology of our pickerels, specifically our chain pickerel. These are our later spawners of all the Esocids. They spawn late in the winter and early spring. Unique to them, they can tolerate high acidity and salinity waters. They're sexually mature after 4 years of age, and they don't get as big as the northern pike and the purebred muskie. They average size is about 15 to 17 inches. Some unique ID characteristics about them: they have this dark bar, as you can see in the photo on the right below the eye, as well as they have this chain-like pattern along the side of their bodies. They also, cheeks are fully scaled, as well as their gill cover. For grass and redfin pickerel, they're the smallest of all the Esocid species. They average in size about 3 to 7 inches, and the max is about 12 inches. And because of their small size, they're not really considered a recreational fishery. So you may be wondering, how long does it take for our Esocid populations to reach legal size? And that varies based on each species. So listed here are 4 growth curves for muskie, tiger muskie, northern pike, and chain pickerel. So if we look at the top left-hand box for purebred muskie, where the red line intersects the growth curve line for legal size for muskie be 40 inches is at a 6-year-old. For a 50-inch fish, it's going to be around age 11. For tiger muskie, they're going to be, for 40 inches is a legal size, they're going to be at around an 8-year-old, and for 50 inches, it's going to be around a 10-year-old. For northern pike, their legal size is 24 inches, so where it crosses there, it's about a 4-year-old. And then for about a 40-inch fish, it's going to be around 12 years of age. For chain pickerel, they're going to be around between a 4 and a 5-year-old, and the legal size for them is 18 inches. For fish who are about 28 inches, it's going to be about at age 6. So in Pennsylvania, we primarily stock 4 Esocid species. Those include muskie, tiger muskie, northern pike, and spotted muskie. So the muskie and tiger muskie are primarily the bulk of our stockings. Currently, we stock 34 lakes and about 49 sections of river. We do have one river, seen here on the right on the map, is maintained for natural reproduction. That would be North Branch of Susquehanna River. We stock 34,000 muskie and 7,300 tiger muskie. These would be alternate year stockings, so we have even years and odd years, but every year that amount of fish are going out through our hatchery system. And they're being stocked currently at a 0.75 fish per acre, and these are spring yearlings, about 12 to 14 inches in size. Regarding northern pike, there are 2 specific waters we stock to maintain their populations. Those include Walker and Phaler Lakes in Snyder County. There are fall fingerling stockings at 2,800 fish. And then we have a spotted muskie program, and this is primarily stockings in Presque Isle Bay. It's on a very limited basis, and this is when we can get surplus fish from Michigan. In 2019, we stocked 29,000 fall fingerlings. In Pennsylvania, we have a statewide muskie management plan. The plan was drafted in 2012 and then revised in 2017. One of the main objectives of the plan was to create high-quality destination waters to really improve muskie fishing in Pennsylvania. Create these waters where they are maintained at a high rate, have quality fishing opportunities, and attract those people to come fish them and promote those waters. Also listed in the management plan were several other objectives to include. We wanted to evaluate a couple stocking programs that we had. One was a historical stocking program that we've been doing for a long time, and another one was a relatively new stocking program. Also, we made a regulation change back in 2017, so we wanted to evaluate the effects of that regulation change. The plan was revised in 2017. At that time, based on the information that we learned from the previous plan, we made changes to our size, frequency, and stocking rates of our fish, going to the yearling stockings. We also wanted to assess our natural reproduction in our flowing waters, and also our stocking contributions to those flowing waters that are being stocked. And then finally, explore some new methods for age determination, and more accurately age these esocids. So 2 research studies we currently identified in our muskie management plan that we're currently conducting. The first one is a coda wire tagging study. This is where we're evaluating fall fingerlings, which is a historical program that we've been doing since the 1950s, and then a relatively new program using spring yearlings. So what we did was we used coda wire tags, and coda wire tags are a piece of metal that we injected into the fish, and then we used this coda wire tag wand detector seen here on the right with me scanning the fish and the adults. And so we collected a bunch of adults and determined, which one is surviving better. What we found is a higher survival of yearlings, about a 3-to-1 ratio, yearlings over fall fingerlings. So this is the information we use to make our stocking changes, moving forward to stocking yearlings exclusively. We also learned out of the data that fish grow fast, up to about 36 inches. And then after that, they really plateau at about legal size 40 inches and a little bit past that. The second study that we're currently conducting is a statewide pit tagging study. If you're not familiar with a PIT, PIT stands for Passive Integrator Transponder. So this would allow us the ability to tag individual fish. Very much needed to evaluate a regulation change that we made in 2007, where we increased the size of the fish and decreased the creel limit. This really provided information once we get recaptured fish on kind of what the density of our muskies are in our lakes, what their growth is, what our mortality we have with them, and then the overall health of the fish. We're off to a great start with this study. Began in 2013. Over 1,000 fish have been tagged thus far, and we've captured 150 recaptures. So I mentioned the pit tagging study. If you've never seen this operation, you're in luck. I'm going to take you in the field for the next 50 seconds to show you how this is being done. So this is Lake Arthur. This is our Area 1 Lionsville crew out in the spring using trap nets. So seen here is a specialized sock net that we use to handle our muskies. First thing they'll record is the weight of this fish. Next, what they will do is record the length of the fish. Notice that when they process the fish, it remains in the water the entire time, especially the head region. So this is the total length that they're measuring now. Next, they'll grab the pit tag reader. That's that yellow instrument there to check and see if it's been pit tagged previously. It hasn't. Next, they'll collect some scale samples for age and growth analysis. And then finally, they'll inject a pit tag into the adult here in the anal fin cavity, as well as also in the dorsal fin. Next, they'll grab the pit tag reader again. It has a number on there, so when they scan it, they'll be able to see the number of that tag and verify that with their scale card. So now we have a record of this fish. So once this fish is captured later in the future, we now can look at all the different information that we can collect from this guy and see what differences there are. Another research we're currently conducting is an age validation study. This is where we're comparing fish scales versus pelvic fin rays. So seen here is a muskie scale, and this is traditionally how we age our esocids. Biologists will determine where the annuli are on the scale and then count them up to get the total age of the fish. This is seen here in the yellow numbers. Some of the challenges this poses for aging with scales is that one biologist may see this as a 5, another may see it as a 7, so there's a lot of variability in these scales. Second thing is that when you use scales to age older fish, it's shown that it's highly inaccurate. And that's basically due to the erosion of the end of the annuli as they stack up in older fish, as well as regeneration of the scale. So basically what happens with that is that you underestimate the true age of the fish. Seen here is a pelvic fin ray. This is where we take a piece of the pelvic fin ray and we cut it with a saw and then illuminate that under a microscope. You can clearly see through these images how much more visible the annuli are. I have them listed here in the yellow numbers. And one of the great things about this particular new method is that it's working well in older fish. So we have about 585 fish that we're currently looking at from 12 lakes, both muskie and tiger muskie. And they range in size from 28 to 35 inches and about 3 to 5 years of age. The biggest thing that's been really beneficial with this new method is that it works for older fish. Our oldest fish we just aged was a 50-incher. It's 15 years old from Francis Slocum Lake. So again, this new method doesn't require sacrificing of the fish. From a regulatory standpoint, we offer year-round fishing opportunities for Esocid species in Pennsylvania. Seen here as far as the listed species, muskies, tiger muskies, northern pike, and pickerels. You'll want to consult the summary booklet regarding the minimum size limits and creel limits for each of these species. We do have a broodstock lakes program. During this time, it's catch and release, no harvest, and that's from April to May. There's 9 lakes and 4 counties in this program. Again, consult the summary booklet, pages 10 and 15 specifically for these regulations. Also, there are special regulations regards to minimum size and daily creel limits for Pymatuming, Conowingo, Delaware, and the estuary. So you may be wondering, how do we catch these guys? Where, how, and when do we catch them? So we want to provide some fishing tips and tactics. This one's particularly for muskies and tiger muskies on this slide. We know that muskies are one of those fish that has a cliche of a fish of 10,000 casts. So hopefully in Pennsylvania, by our management programs and the tactics that we're going to provide you, maybe cut down on how long it's going to take to catch one of these fish. But certainly a fish you got to be patient with. So regarding bait fish, a variety of baits work. Generally soft rayed fishes work well, such as suckers and shad and golden shiners. Artificial baits, topwater plugs, midwater plugs work well. The general rule with this is big gear, big tackle, big presentation. Regarding gear, heavy action rods, bait casting rods, fly fishing is really popular with these guys. We also want to make sure we have some large landing nets for safety capturing the fish and releasing them. Regarding habitat, you want to target weed beds, woody debris, drop-offs, and primarily in lakes. And then in flowing water systems, concentrate on tributary confluences, back channels, tailwaters. And then timing. Timing is important. Usually during spawning events are most productive, deeper water in the summertime, and then oftentimes guys do real well during low light conditions, early in the morning, late in the afternoon. Very similar setups for northern pike and chain pickerel regarding bait fish. Live or dead baits seem to work well for them. Yellow perch and bluegill as far as spiny rayed fish. Same artificial tackle works well for them, topwater and midwater types of baits. Regarding gear types, again with these, much more lighter action rods and reels and line. Tip-ups, especially for winter ice fishing for northern pike and chain pickerel, they do really well through the ice. Regarding habitat, dense vegetation they prefer, shallow water areas associated with cover, bays and these large lakes and reservoirs. Regarding timing, again, early late spring, during the daylight. Ice fishing, you can catch them anytime, day or night. So I think most of you are aware by now, we do maintain a best fishing waters page. These would be the best of the best. Listed here are 4 species of esocids listed by lakes and major river systems that you definitely want to check out. These would be waters that maintain high catch rates with good size distribution. So for muskie and tiger muskie, those highlighted in yellow are uppercoming lakes that are really good quality fisheries to target. Pymatuming Lake in Crawford County for muskie, Allegheny River, about 189 miles to fish on that. For muskie and tiger muskie, regarding northern pike, Presque Isle Bay, Conneaut Lake, and obviously Allegheny Reservoir, where the current state record is for northern pike in Warren County. Chain pickerel offers some opportunities as well too in Sugar Lake, as well as a couple of waters in Bucks County and Tioga County. And finally, you may be asking, how can I, as an angler, how can I be more involved in our muskie programs and supporting our Esocid programs that we have in Pennsylvania? Well, there's great opportunities to do so. First, you can purchase a volunteer muskie permit, seen here to the right. They're $10. All proceeds go directly to improve muskie fishing in Pennsylvania. You can get involved with some stocking efforts. We work with several sportsmen's clubs as well as muskie clubs and stocking many of our lakes and flowing waters. Maybe you're interested in joining a muskie club. There's currently 4 throughout the state. It's a great opportunity to network with those that are really skilled at their craft. Additional resources we offer, feature articles in the Pennsylvania Angler and Boater magazine. We also have Biologist web reports where you can look and see our most recent survey for a particular water you're interested in fishing. Also, we have lake habitat maps, and check out our Commission's Muskie website. Lots of good information and links in that as well. This concludes our Esocid Fisheries presentation for this session. Should you have any questions regarding the content that was shared, if so, please submit those questions in written form to the panel as previously instructed. And once again, thank you again for your interest and attention.